everyone, I'm Karima Devine, and welcome to 12 News Weekend. Every week, we take a look back at our best stories from our 12 News journalists. On today's show, get to know one of the WNBA stars who is now lacing up for the Phoenix Mercury. And then later, a tech-savvy teen develops a life-changing site for those with disabilities. But first, with temperatures rising quickly, what plans does Arizona have for cooling off in the future? 12 News journalist William Pitts has more.
In no time at all, the Heat Respite Center at Central and Jackson will be busy. A family room built to comfort kids, water stacked everywhere, and air conditioning. 24 hours a day, every day. The city's heat plan is in effect.
Each life lost is a tragedy, especially because it is likely preventable.
The state's team of heat officials, experts, and coordinators is watching the forecast every day, sometimes a week out.
That allows us a little bit of ability to do planning and be able to see if there's any communications or any awareness that we need to spread. So it's something that we monitor very closely.
And it seems to be working. At least last year it did. 602 people died of heat-related causes in Arizona last year, but that's actually down from the year before.
Last year, looking at our heat-related deaths, it was the first year in 10 years that we've had a decline year over year.
Shelters, water stations, cooling centers like this, they've all helped. Thousands of people used the respite centers last year, and still not enough.
We also need boots on the ground. We know that word of mouth is a really important mechanism for communicating information to some of our most impacted populations.
And all of it is expensive.
We have regular executive meetings to just monitor federal funding in general and to see those impacts that may be happening.
And right now, federal money is getting cut.
It's an unknown territory right now.
Unknown because some of the money that funds the heat-related activities in Arizona is not permanent. It's grants, one-time funding, short-term funding. The county has money from the American Recovery Act, but not for long.
That funding will extend through this summer. However, it is not available following that. So we are working with our partners, working with the county, the state, to ensure that we have funding for this moving forward.
We are expecting more and more cuts over future years, and the city's trying to be as nimble and strategic as possible because we know people are counting on us.
Because higher temperatures are only getting higher. William Pitts, 12 News.
It's a celebration of academic achievement and culture. A ceremony meant to honor Indigenous graduates for all their hard work and dedication.
It took a while to get here. It took a lot of hardships, but I'm here and I'm so proud.
About 30 graduates from community colleges across the valley gathered with their families at Salt River Fields in Scottsdale for their Native American Convocation.
It's an accomplishment. It's thrilling.
With speakers, including Governor Katie Hobbs, in attendance.
This is a testament to the community's commitment to uplifting all tribal members.
It's a tradition that has been going on for decades. But this year, the long-standing celebration almost ended. Because of federal cuts to diversity, equity, and inclusion programs, the Maricopa County Community College District decided to cancel all convocations, meaning these graduates wouldn't be able to celebrate their accomplishments like those who came before them.
It wasn't really fair.
I felt like it's a little bit degrading just because we're not really recognized.
It kind of takes your breath away. It's like a gut punch.
Councilmember Micah Carlos with the Salt River Pima Maricopa Indian community couldn't believe a ceremony like this would even be considered to get cut.
That was hurtful, that was confusing, and that's frustrating.
Not wanting to disappoint those who worked so hard to get here, leadership decided to host their own special convocation, inviting graduates from all 10 Maricopa County community colleges to be here.
I was like, yes, we're doing something for us.
Which meant everything to those walking across the stage and their families.
We faced a lot of oppression in our ancestry. So being able to represent our culture and celebrate our people means so much to our communities.
They just hope for future graduates they can also be part of this tradition.
It needs to be here.
In Scottsdale, Chase Golightly, 12 News.
Grounded No More has been honoring veterans for nearly a decade.
Thanks for your service.
Well, thank you all for being here.
Sergeant Big Bob Richmond.
Each veteran given a free ride in the friendly skies aboard Amazing Grace.
All right, let's get you flying.
Well, Amazing Grace is a 1943 Fairchild PT-26.
She was originally used to train British pilots in Canada during World War II. For some veterans, it's more than a vintage plane.
I flew in one of these planes just 80 years ago.
Overwhelming, to say the least.
How old do you feel?
39.
While it's a trip down memory lane for some, for others, flying with Amazing Grace was more than a joyride.
It was peaceful. You could kind of let go of some things. When I went up in Amazing Grace, it seemed like for that time period, I didn't have to think about it. It wasn't in my thoughts.
You know, guys that wouldn't talk about anything. We had one lady called us up 2 years ago, and she says, I've found more stuff out about my husband in the last year than I have in 38 years we've been married. That whatever you guys did, it just opened him up.
I feel like I'd like to do it more often.
Unfortunately, 680 veteran flights later, Amazing Grace has been retired.
They had a metal shortage in World War II, so they made this airplane primarily out of wood, which unfortunately is why we've had to retire it. It had a couple of separations in the wood, and the cost to get it repaired is probably twice what the airplane is worth.
Owner and pilot Tony Anger says the nonprofit Grounded No More will still go on the honor flights, just with another vintage plane. Like the veterans she served, Amazing Grace will never be forgotten.
And bring back those memories, I think.
I just want to say God bless you for your courage, your sacrifice, and your service.
And coming up, the Phoenix Suns have a new GM. But what does that mean for the star-studded team? We'll be right back.
Brian Gregory, the new GM, he just got finished talking here at the Suns practice facility. And I'll say this, his personality is not going to jump off the page, but his message was very clear to Suns fans. He kept using the buzzwords of alignment, of course, vision and identity. All things owner Matt Ishbia said need to change about this franchise moving forward. Here's the new guy in charge of the Suns. Of course, he will be the voice on the basketball side of things moving forward. Started working in the NBA just a few years ago, was a consultant for the Suns, and then worked getting the NBA rookies ready. Last year, called it like a master class in the NBA, right? He credits 30 years of basketball experience for getting this job. He also highlights his relationship with owner Matt Ishbia. It goes back 25 years when Gregory was an assistant coach at Michigan State while Ishbia was on the team.
Matt and I are aligned, and the one thing I will say is this: I'm never going to shy away from the fact that one of the reasons I'm sitting up here is because of my relationship with Matt Ishbia. But that relationship is founded on that alignment. Shared values, shared work ethic. We've been through a lot together, you know, and he trusts me and I trust him. And he has empowered me with this responsibility of executing the vision that we've put forth. We share the same vision of what our team needs to look like and how we need to play and how that can lead to successful teams.
There we go. All right, let's get down to some questions that I know all fans have. What is this roster going to look like next season? I did get a chance to ask him about if Kevin Durant and Bradley Beal will come back next year. He was not ready to answer any of those questions just yet, although he did say he had dinner with Bradley Beal recently and saw Kevin Durant in the weight room here in Phoenix. He said the first phone call he got when he got the job here in the Valley was from Devin Booker. That's a good sign. Remember, the owner is committed to rebuilding this thing around Book. His first order on the job is finding a new head coach that fits that alignment and identity and vision that he talked about all press conference. That's going to likely take all of May. He calls it an extensive search that they're going to do. And then when asked about the criticism of this hire, right, like many fans think this is just Ishbia hired his boy, right? He says, I understand that, and I accept the challenge. We'll see how he does moving forward.
We've seen this before, a headline that sets off alarm bells in Arizona's housing market. 2 years ago, Goldman Sachs predicted Arizona was poised for a recession-style crash. Of course, that didn't happen. Now, one forecaster says he sees Arizona heading into a mass sell-off. A recent Newsweek headline quotes one expert's prediction, leading to online buzz of an impending crash. Local realtors on the ground are not buying it.
I would just say if you're seeing things online is always consider the source.
Veteran real estate broker Jim Zerbe says the housing market is unpredictable, but there's no crisis, at least for now.
So certainly national things like the potential for increased costs for builders on tariffs. People are less likely to want to spend a bunch of money on a remodel. Lots of people are just waiting to see what happens.
The data does show signs buyers are hesitating. In Arizona, just over 30,000 homes are on the market, a number not that high since November of 2016. In Metro Phoenix alone, just over 22,000 homes are listed. That's the most in more than a decade. Home construction is also stagnant. Single-family build permits in the valley are down 15% compared to last year. What this means for now, says Zerbe, is buyers have more power.
So some sellers, if they have to do something sooner than later, they're going to incentivize the buyer.
Why are so many homes for sale? The president of the Arizona Association of Realtors tells 12 News international property owners are selling, unsure about the U.S. economy. And many snowbirds leaving the state are deciding to sell instead of keeping their homes another year. For those who are selling, houses are staying on the market right now for about 52 days on average, the same amount as this time last year. In other words, says this realtor, the sky is not falling.
If home prices are down a bit or foreclosures are up a tad, oh my gosh, there's all these properties, sellers are getting desperate, prices are down. Buyers wish that was true. It's really not.
For 28-year-old Tejas Surampudi, going out to eat comes with challenges. At age 10, he was diagnosed with Duchenne muscular dystrophy and relies on a wheelchair.
A lot of restaurants are still not wheelchair accessible. There's steps to enter, and sometimes, you'll call the restaurant and they don't really know what you're asking, and they're like, oh, there's only one step. And it's like, well, one step is one step too many.
Tejas is the inspiration behind a new website designed by his 16-year-old cousin, Sanjit.
I thought it was insane how he couldn't eat food at a restaurant because of his wheelchair. So then he and I got together and tried to figure out a solution to the problem.
Sanjit Krishnamurthy was introduced to coding by his father at the age of 7. Now a junior at Brophy Prep, Sanjit and his older brother Rohit are the creators of Dinability.com. The site is an online guide to accessible dining for people with disabilities.
You can search two ways. You can do it by place or restaurant specifically.
They came up with the idea to scavenge the internet for restaurant reviews on sites like Yelp and other platforms.
We searched for specific keywords like wheelchair dog, deaf, blind, ramp, and we pulled those reviews in, and then we used a ChatGPT API to give us sentiment analysis.
Currently, in its beta phase, the site allows users to select a category to get detailed customer reviews related to accessibility.
We have deaf-friendly, blind-friendly, wheelchair-friendly, and dog-friendly. This one has 3 dog-positive reviews. Okay. This one is not blind-friendly.
83-year-old Mark Shapiro suffered a stroke 3 years ago and uses a wheelchair to get around.
I'm liking this app because it'll show which restaurants ahead of time have all the accessibility that I would need. And if I'm not sure something, I can call them and find out.
Dinability.com currently covers Phoenix and San Francisco, with plans to expand to other major U.S. cities. Sanjit says his hope is that people with disabilities like his cousin Tejas can have the best dining experience possible despite their challenges.
I'm just happy to help him dine easier, because it's a tough process for him and like several other individuals.
Sometimes I'm really still struck by saying, oh, I play for the Phoenix Mercury now, yeah.
The Mercury were one of the first WNBA teams Satu Sabali got to watch while growing up in Germany. Now she's beginning a new chapter of her career with an organization that's rich in history.
Everyone knows DT, and I think that she's been definitely a role model in my life. Getting to spend time with BG and knowing how many years she has spent here, being able to build on legacy, that's a huge honor for me.
Sabali was the 2nd overall pick in the 2020 WNBA draft. She's earned the nickname the Unicorn because of her versatility on the court. Trading for Sabali and 11-year vet Alyssa Thomas, ushering in a new era for Phoenix.
I would say Alyssa and Satu both play some of the most valuable positions in this game, and that's,
size, strength, and skill. They both have those.
To me, what Nick in our front office did this offseason to go get Alyssa and Satu was unbelievable.
After spending the last 5 seasons in Dallas, Sabali is embracing a fresh start with the Mercury, contributing to the culture that's been established since 1997.
So it's a huge honor to me when I get to say that I'm a Mercury now and to continue their winning.
In Phoenix, Lena Washington, 12 Sports.
A big celebration for a smaller but significant IKEA location. IKEA Scottsdale at the Promenade opened its doors Wednesday morning, becoming the second IKEA in Arizona.
So it's been 20 years in the making, and our ambition is to become more accessible, affordable, and convenient for the many people in Arizona.
But at this new location, don't expect to grab a cart or even a meatball. You also won't be getting lost in a maze of showrooms because this is a plan and order store. A 2,500 square foot space where you can meet with an IKEA expert to design your dream kitchen, bedroom, bath, or closet.
They're going to get that individual experience and guidance from our IKEA team here. And while you can't take home your goods here today, we can arrange for delivery or for a free pickup at this location.
Randy Chan is remodeling her bathroom and became the first customer at IKEA Scottsdale. She lives only a few minutes away.
Exactly. I think that's a huge benefit, is not having to drive all the way to Tempe to pick up something. So I met with Carrie. She was very nice and helpful. I kind of told her what I've seen online already, and then based off of that, she was able to look on their inventory list and pick out the different products for me.
IKEA's expansion doesn't stop here.
We are super happy to announce that we have plans for IKEA Phoenix. It will be a one-level store format, approximately 75,000 square feet, with immediate takeaway of over 3,000 articles, and even a Swedish deli concept, so you can get your meatballs.
The third store near Cactus Road and Tatum Boulevard is expected to open early next year. IKEA says this expansion is part of their goal to become more accessible, convenient, and affordable for Arizonans.
I'm very excited that this is here.
In Scottsdale, Kyle Simchuk, 12 News.
You have to raise your hand if you have a question.
Some of Officer Emily King's toughest questions on the playground.
Hi.
Come from Gilbert's youngest.
On my team, right now I have a small team.
Recess chats with students like Tora Pham.
She just kind of like hangs out with the kids and like tells them like what she does.
Let's walk this way.
Okay. All right. And like what her job is.
How long have you been a police officer? I've been a police officer for over 3 years.
Are just one important part of Officer King's role as Gilbert's first youth community engagement officer.
Going to schools and engaging our youth.
The position created last year, Officer King spends time in all schools from public to charter and private, even clubs.
Because you could really hurt somebody with that.
Yeah.
It's one step in addressing teen violence in the East Valley. In 2023, Preston Lord was brutally attacked and beaten by the Gilbert Goons, a hybrid street gang.
It's going to take a lot of time and dedication, but most importantly, teamwork. So I'm continuing to partner with our parents, our community members, business partners.
Gilbert, a community with more than 80,000 younger than 18, according to the town.
We really need to work together to best support our youth in these challenging times.
Officer King's research shows bullying is still a big problem.
Such as harassment, cyberbullying, assaults are happening, and it's important to continue to provide support for our teachers, our schools.
A move this Gilbert Elementary teacher supports.
We start the positive core values early when the kids are young, and to know that they have the support, to know that they're safe, to know that there's somebody there. I think it's a good thing that it could carry over to junior high and high school as well.
And in a town council meeting last month, Gilbert's police chief recommended expanding Officer King's position to a specialty unit focused on youth outreach.
How much miles per hour have you gone?
Keeping the playground open for all of those questions.
Kind of fast, though. Hi. Is everyone having a great day?
Yeah.
I am.
And answers.
6-year-old Renee is on a mission.
And coloring a heart.
creating welcome signs for her dad.
She made a big sign for him with all her artwork that she's been doing.
Her father, Tech Sergeant Randall Wires, along with 100 members of the 161st Air Refueling Wing with the Arizona Air National Guard, returning home from a 90-day deployment in the Middle East.
I'm gonna hug him.
The refueling wing are the giant tankers that refuel fighter jets in midair.
But the tempo that they took on when they were over there was significant. We fly quite a bit here stateside. I would say if we were to double or triple that, that's probably what they were seeing over there.
Now they're home, welcomed by signs, flowers, balloons, and waves.
Took them out of school early, signed out of work early, and came down.
While they've completed their mission, their families also share in that sacrifice for our country.
It's hard on both parties, definitely, especially with little kids, trying to explain time and why he's there and what he's doing there.
I have a lot of family support. I've got 2 sisters that live in the valley, and my mother-in-law also lives with us, and so I'm constantly asking for favors from them.
It all comes down to moments like this. Renee got to finally give her dad that big hug.
Feels really good. Good to see my family again.
Working hard for their nation, oftentimes it's the thought of their family that keeps them going.
Makes it all worth it. Otherwise, I'm not sure what I'd be fighting for.
Just super excited. I haven't seen my little girl in 3 months, my boys, my other daughter Capri, and obviously my wife. I'm just excited and anxious to get home and hang out with them.
And thanks everyone for watching. And just a reminder, new episodes of 12 News Weekend premiere every Friday on 12+. You can also watch past episodes on the app. All you have to do is download 12+ for your Apple TV, Fire TV, and Roku to watch for free. I'm Dinability. Have a fantastic rest of your weekend.